Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today we're talking about the one and only Turbo Toad token. Now listen, before we jump into it, let's talk about the coin fashion of the day. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, someone said, I was bullish on ETH since January, where I was at mid six figures. Poor trading decisions over the last few months have caused me to go to nearly zero ETH now. All my friends' portfolios are at all-time highs, while mine is at an all-time low. Now, see, that's the thing, people. That's why, in general, I do not like to mess around. I don't like to leverage trade too much either. When it comes to cryptos, trying to always, get a quick flip in. Leverage trading is dangerous. I still trade, but I like trading my gold. I like trading my other pairs on a different account. When it comes to crypto, I only like to accumulate crypto, and I don't like to even flip the coins itself, right? Like if something pumps a couple percent in a day, I'm not here to sell it and then just try to get it for even cheaper a couple days later. I don't like any of this short-term flipping. I don't really like any of this leverage trading. I am not super high on these types of philosophies. And yeah, we can see, right? People that practically did nothing are rewarded, right? Because sometimes doing less is doing more. While the person that's trying to make an extra bag, trying to go all crazy, well, they just got punished. So yeah, not the most ideal, not the most ideal. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, happy September. Mark your calendars because Turbo Day is almost here. We'll be celebrating on the September 6th. So we could see Turbo and his minions. Hell yeah, absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. I'm going to like some of these posts to get those engagements up. And yeah, Turbo Day on the 6th. So we will be celebrating that. When we look at the price, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that we are at 0.0037. We are ranked 170 out of the 9,483 active cryptos, roughly 257 million market cap with 23.5 million volume. Now, one thing I did want to do is compare this chart to something like Pepe. We can see, right? Very similar. Very similar. We have these highs over here, right? We have a second top, we have a third top, and then we sell off. No, it's the same thing. We have high, second top, third top, and I guess, well, we had a mini fourth one, and then we sold off. All right, we have one rally, then we go down, we have another rally, and then we just kind of been going diagonally. We can see, boom, nice one rally, go down, another rally, never went up as high as the other ones, and we can just see we've been going diagonally down. So very similar, very similar, which is good because I know Pepe is going to do well this cycle. Okay, I know Pepe is going to do well this cycle. Pepe is just a global top meme coin. It's just a global top meme in general, Pepe. So, and that is just the reality, right? That is just the reality. Pepe is much bigger than us. So in terms of ratios for your money, definitely for me, something like Turbo is worth the risk because even if we were to, for example, get roughly to Pepe's price market cap, it would be roughly 14-15x. Right, it would be roughly 14-15x to get to that 4 billion. But if you want those types of gains from Pepe, you would have to be looking at a 60 billion market cap. So for me, the ratios just make more sense. Turbo's ratios are just better in terms of risk to reward. And that is why I like Turbo, because it's sitting somewhere in the middle where there are other meme coins where you could debate, well, those are maybe a hypothetically easier 6x, 8x, 10x. But the things with Turbo's ratios are absolutely fantastic. The risk is just a little bit more, right? If the risk factor on other meme coins like Pepe or Bonk are, let's say, 1 out of 10 or 1.5 out of 10, then Turbo's is like 2, right? But for me, that's fine. Like that's totally fine. That doesn't bother me at all. Look, we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that the holders have been going down. They've been going sideways in general ever since pretty much the 25th of August. So kind of the last week or so, even further down, right? We've just been kind of just going up and down, but just very minor, just very minorly. We've been going up and down. We've just been kind of ranging, which is fine. It doesn't really matter. These are some of the worst conditions we have been in a while. So being flatlined is not necessarily a bad thing. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, when we go to the technical analysis, the monthly candle did close well, right? It did close well. Now we go and look and take away all the distractions. Boom, we can see that August did close pretty good. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be some type of pullback. That doesn't mean, right, areas won't get swept. But that does mean is that we have been consistently, floor, 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 raising it higher, right? The roof has practically been the same over the last few months in terms of candle closes. Of course, when we go and look at something like the actual wicks, right, they have spiked much higher, but we've failed to hold, right? We've failed to hold. So, I mean, that's just the reality of the game. But overall, still things are looking good, right? When we go and look at a big support like the one we have over here, and then we also look at this current big resistance, we can see we're just kind of in a range, which makes sense because when we go even on the weekly, right, it doesn't look as pretty, but we can see that we have just mainly been ranging between this zone. Candle closes have been closing around 0.0046, and we've been even going upwards consistently of 0.0057, right? In terms of consistency, we've been going somewhere over here, right? We've had times where we have gone higher, but in general, we just have been ranging. Now, here's the deal, people, right? I still think turbo is going to go down, but as long as we just don't close, a weekly candle below this red line, then we should be chilling, right? We really, really should be chilling. Overall, turbo is just currently in a very, very narrow channel going down. We can see clear as day. You can see over here, right? If we go take this trend line from the top to this, we can see it is just clear as day that we are in this very, very narrow trend line. And for me, this is good. For me, this is good because a pattern like this, for example, right? If we took something like this, boom, we can see we're also running out of time in terms of making a choice. I don't think we're going to go much further down, to be honest. I do think we are going to be looking to expand, right? We could see a little fake out before we go, right? We could see something like fake out, boom, and then we will start going. And the reason why I'm confident that we will be going to the upside is just because of the market conditions and just because usually a chart like this doesn't really sell off that much. It's usually the opposite. They have it. Yeah, it's usually the opposite. We're not going to dive into too much of the whys, but it is usually the opposite. And, we've seen something similar in the past where we were going down very aggressively. We started to go sideways, and before we knew it, we started to push up. But that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of the 3-month candle, it looks absolutely disgusting in a bad way for us, but we still have the whole September to go. So we will continue to monitor how everything has been doing. But yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. I love you guys so much. Make sure to join the open community, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.